Today we are diving into the hot button issue. Does Donald Trump or any US president do they have the right or the constitutional right to actually levy tariffs on global trade powers like China, the EU, Mexico, Canada? Buckle up, ladies and gentlemen. The truth might surprise you. Hey folks, John here. Thank you for tuning in and welcome back once again to This World, My Take, your go-to space for bold breakdowns and straight shooting facts. I hope you guys are doing good. Let's get started, folks. Let's not talk too much. First, let's break it down, folks. Tariffs are taxes imposed on imported goods. They often used to protect home industries. Any leader might decide to levy tariff at any time of the presidency to protect home industries and to retaliate on trade wars. Now, the question is this. This sounds simple, right? But here's where it gets complicated, folks. The power to impose these tariffs doesn't fully lie on the president. It's a Congress thing. The Congress has the power to do so, not the White House. Now, this president coming into power for his second term and starting to do this by executive order, that is actually bypassing the Congress. The question is, does the Congress have the power to stop this man? Are the three arms of government fully effective during this man's tenure, second term? That's the question that I want us to answer by this. But first, I want you guys to watch this video before we continue.
We're just hours away from the latest deadline in the rolling debacle that is Donald Trump's self-inflicted trade war. At midnight tonight, Trump's latest round of disastrous global tariffs are set to kick in. And since we've been here before, we know that means Trump is either about to chicken out again or crash the stock market or a combination of the two. And in the lead up to this latest deadline, Trump has insisted that he is not changing his mind this time. But tonight, on the eve of this deadline, Trump released a new order announcing brand new, completely made up tariff rates, probably with the same fake equation that he's used before, for a whole host of different countries. And shocker, these new tariffs make even less sense than before. For instance, he is raising the tariff on Canada from 25% to 35%, while at the same time exempting the vast majority of products that Canada actually exports to the United States. With every new iteration of these tariffs, Trump has injected more uncertainty, more chaos into the global economy and certainly the economy here at home. But today, we got a little sliver of hope that something might soon stop Trump from making this matter any worse.
Yeah, folks, you guys heard her. Now, these tariffs that this man is just throwing around, he's just throwing about to different global partners of America. It is actually nonsense. And if you ask me, this is just another way for this man to distract and delay the whole Epstein situation and the cover-up that he is actually doing. We all know that this man is on that list. Now let's come back to the constitutionality of actually giving the president the right of actually levying, to place tariffs on different countries and different partners. Now, what the Constitution actually says is this. According to Article 1, Section 8 of the United States Constitution, Congress has the power, the exclusive power, to lay and collect taxes, duties, impose and exercise, and to regulate commerce with foreign partners, foreign nations. This includes putting tariffs on these foreign nations, not the president of the United States. This is not unilaterally. So when Mr. Donald Trump comes up and says, oh, this is a revived tariff thing, when he brags about slapping tariffs on China, the EU, Canada, some countries in Africa, he's stepping into legally murky territory unless Congress has the power to give him that right too. And so far, we have seen this man take stances and make decisions on behalf of the United States that are actually contrary to why he's supposed to do them. Take, for example, the case with Brazil. There was no need for him to slap a 50% tariff on Brazil. But he did this because, as a corrupt man that he is, he's trying to protect his friend, the ex-president Jair Bolsonaro, who tried to do the same thing that this man did in January 6th and failed. So the question is this: why does Trump do this? Why is he allowed to do this? But first, I want you guys to, let's watch this.
This morning, a federal appeals court heard oral arguments in a pair of lawsuits challenging Trump's authority to unilaterally impose these tariffs. And the judges in that case sounded pretty skeptical about whether Trump really had the power to do all of this on his own. I mean, one judge told Trump's lawyers, quote, "One of the major concerns that I have is that the law Trump cites for this authority doesn't even mention the tariffs anywhere." Another judge said that during these same arguments, quote, "It's just hard for me to see that Congress intended to give the president the wholesale authority to throw out the tariff schedule that Congress has adopted after years of careful work and revise every one of these tariff rates." Yeah, I mean, that skepticism makes sense. After all, Trump's arguments for why he is allowed to impose these tariffs have never made any sense. He claimed that this is all about combating a national emergency, but what that emergency is keeps changing. I mean, one day it's rebalancing trade, the next it's about fentanyl trafficking, the next day it's about stopping the criminal trial of a fellow authoritarian coup plotter. Who knows what it'll be tomorrow? The only consistent theme is that Trump seems to think he can just impose whatever tariffs he wants for whatever reason he feels like on that particular day.
So like I said, only Congress has the power to do so. It is the reason why some of these judges are starting to question. Remember, I did say that by him doing this, slapping tariffs on different, trade global partners to the United States, this man is on legally murky territory, because I know he's not that smart to understand a whole lot of this, and some of his base really do not even understand this. But ladies and gentlemen, this is the question. So if he cannot do that, if Congress has the exclusive power to do such things as levying tariffs on different global partners, why is Donald Trump doing it? So why is Trump doing it? Let me say this. Now, here's the twist, ladies and gentlemen. Over the years, Congress passed laws like the Trade Expansion Act of 1962, ladies and gentlemen, and the International Emergency Economy Power Act, that is the IEEPA of 1977. These gave the president conditional authority to impose tariffs during emergencies. The key word here, ladies and gentlemen, is emergency. During emergency, national security threat, economic crisis, and so on. But we've seen, just like I mentioned, the case with Brazil, that was not an emergency situation. The case with Canada is not an emergency situation, unless for some weird reason Donald Trump wants to tell us that the fentanyl thing is a crisis to Americans. It is a crisis, but it is not a national threat. There are ways to curb that issue of importation of the smuggling of fentanyl in this country. Now, let me go on and say, ladies and gentlemen, Trump used he uses Section 232 of the Trade Expansion Act to justify tariffs on things like steel and aluminum, calling it a national security issue. But many experts, ladies and gentlemen, they have said that was a stretch. It is a stretch. This man likes to do things just because he feels like doing them. Now, let me say this, ladies and gentlemen. Critics said that this move for Trump is like a protectionist move, not a patriotic move. So we need to understand, and the courts were very hesitant to challenge it because, ladies and gentlemen, we all know that this man has put a whole lot of his stooges in high places. You feel me? They have put a whole lot of stooges in high places, and they just put Emil Bovey on that edge right now. That's a lifetime position. And this is somebody who every accountability. Now, let me just put this clear to you. This man is acting out of impulses, and he is going to destroy this economy. He's already started to do so, especially with the recent increase of tariff with Canada. Ladies and gentlemen, Trump's trade war policy, is it a policy move or is it a power grab? I will say this whole so-called America First nonsense tariff use is already causing a huge backlash, Because not just globally, but in Americas, ladies and gentlemen, people have lost their jobs from this man's, I will put tariff from this, tariff from that. So many people who supported Donald Trump are now crying because they have lost a whole lot of things. I can talk about farmers, automakers, retailers who face retaliation, and they will face retaliation and high cost. So when he targets China, he targets Mexico, he targets Canada, and even allies in Europe, the WTO often ruled against him, calling the tariffs unjustified. So think about this. Are we allowing this man to go on and destroy this economy? But the irony is this: many of the deals Trump struck, often like those tariffs didn't fundamentally change trade terms. He announced big wins. He'll go on and announce big wins like the USMCA situation replacing NAFTA. But critics argue, let me say this, critics argue that these were just repackaged deals, not revolutionary deals, no changes. And many of these retaliated tariffs from other countries stuck around that will actually hurt the US exporters. Now, let me just say this. Is it legal or there is a loophole, or it's just a loophole in politics? Ladies and gentlemen, so Mr. Trump or any other president, you can impose tariffs at will as long as you want. You can do anything you want. But technically, no, not without legal justification, because Congress has failed to rein these power in with this man in office. It seems as if this man has ass kissers in names of people in Congress who somehow they are allowing this man to do what to do. He is operating on the gray zone. Legal scholars have argued, however, that this undermines the checks and balances in place, especially when it comes to the three arms of government. In fact, bills have been introduced in recent years, ladies and gentlemen, to strip the president of unilaterally tariff power, but we don't see that happen. But they've largely stalled in divided Congress. So I would say this, folks: is it constitutional right for this man to do this? The bottom line is the Constitution is clear. Trade power belongs to Congress and not the president. This world is complicated. Let's keep talking about